What's up, Peace Giant fans? How y'all doing? I know it's been a while. Like I said, I wasn't going to um, do any more mocks. Um, just wanted to give y'all an idea um, on the mocks that I did and why I did them. So basically, now it's just a sit and wait game um, to see what the Giants do. Uh, First, I would like to say my personal opinion. I think the Giants need to go safe. I think they need to play it safe. I think they need to go safe. Um, and I think they need to go Evan Neal and Jermaine Johnson. Um, Start to solidify that offensive line. We signed a lot of guards, three of them to be exact. Getting Evan Neal, he solidifies that offensive line. The center position we can address later on in the draft because our center Feliciano, I believe his name is, has injury concerns, and he's also 30. So we can get younger at that position with a Luke Faulkner or a Donovan West from the Arizona Sun Devils. So we can't get younger at that position. And I think we'll look to get younger. But Jermaine Johnson, to me, is a potential that you can't pass up. When you have a guy that left the University of Georgia because he wasn't getting enough reps, the dude is a beast. And we saw what the University of Georgia did to my Michigan Wolverines. A lot of people are talking about Trayvon Walker. I personally feel that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to shock everybody and take him number one overall. I think just with his size, his athleticism, I think they're going to take him number one. I don't think the Giants are high on Kayvon Thibodeau. I just saw an interview that he did on NFL Network, and it seems, I mean, he's a very talented brother. The brother is talented, but he seems to be more into Kayvon than he seems to be into a team. He was talking about his Bitcoin and stuff that he had going on, and I just thought that it turned me off listening to it. But his ability, if you could tap into that, his ability is second to none. Because he's a hell of a player. So it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. But like I said, Evan Neal seems to be losing steam, which, you know, during this process, he was considered to be a number one pick. But now the Jaguars have signed Cam Robinson, re-signed him rather. So it doesn't look like Evan Neal is going to be their projected left tackle. Now, in a perfect world, I would like to see the Giants take Evan Neal, take Ikem Ekwonu, and kick him to guard. And then your offensive line is phenomenal. But due to the signings that we had at the guard position, I don't feel like that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to go for a guard early. I think they are going to address the guard position later on in the draft, but I think Evan Neal and Jermaine Johnson are going to be their picks. I would like Sauce Gardner. I feel with Wink Martindale's system, I think Sauce Gardner would be a hell of a player. I just don't think he's going to go to the Giants. I think he's going to go to New York. But I think he's going to go a pick ahead of us to the New York Jets. And that really irritates me and that pisses me off because Sauce Gardner is one of my favorite players. And I would love to see him in a Giant uniform. But you never know what'll happen. It seems like the James Bradberry trading, it seems like it's losing steam a little bit. It seems like they're going to hold on to James Bradberry. Some sources have said that Wink Martindale actually likes James Bradberry. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But I say bring James Bradberry back another year. Run the table again with him and Adoree Jackson. And, see what you could get. See what can happen. Because with James Bradberry, Adoree Jackson, and a Jermaine Johnson to help out Leo in the middle and Dexter Lawrence, now you're talking. And the Giants have to address the defensive line because we lost Austin Johnson. So they have to address the defensive line in some way, whether it be in the first round or in the early second round. With Arnold Abeg, that dude's name, I can't get it, but his first name is Arnold. He's from the University of Penn State. Abedke, something like that. Because Boya Mafe is going to be gone. So they do have to address edge rusher somewhere along the line and somewhere high. But like I said, I would love to see Sauce Gardner in the blue. I don't think it's going to happen. So I think the Giants are going to fall for a Roger McCreary, a Tariq Woolen type player, even though they're different type players, but that's what I think that'll fall to them. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. But I do believe that their first pick is going to be Evan Neal. He's a massive of a man, 6'6", 6'7", 300 and some odd pounds, 40 pounds, I think, 350 pounds. Pairing him on the side, on one side, or the opposite side rather, of an Andrew Thomas, you're really starting to build something. And for the Giants to say that they're committed to Daniel Jones, they're committed to Saquon Barkley, you have to address their offensive line. Kadarius Toney, he didn't show up for workouts, but he showed up for voluntary. He didn't show up for voluntary, but he showed up for mandatory. So I don't know how necessarily to read that. If his dedication is there, but he did show up for mandatory workouts. So that's a good sign. And also, the Giants also have to address the wide receiver position. They have to address the wide receiver position, and I think you're going to see them early look at the tight end position. Maybe as far as the third round. Maybe even depending on how the draft falls. If Roger McCreary is there, I feel that they're going to take him in the second round. If he's not, and you have a gap between Roger McCreary and Tariq Woolen, who I also love, then I could see the Giants taking the tight end with their second pick, whether it be Trey McBride or Isaiah Likely. They have to take a tight end. Ricky Sales Jr. is not the answer. This other bum that they signed is not the answer. Another stopgap is not the answer. So you might see them, depending on how the draft board falls, you might see them reach for a tight end early. And then I think after that, I think it's just going to be straight offensive linemen. Put an offensive line together, get a core together, let them play together, let them gel together. Because next season, let's face it, next season is going to be a wash. It's going to be about these guys learning to play together and learning to be New York Giants. So that's what's going to happen. And whether they keep Daniel Jones or not, I think it's about putting pieces in place for whether they keep Daniel Jones or whether they don't. With Daniel Jones, Daniel Jones is not a bad quarterback. Let's get it straight. He's a professional athlete. You're talking about a guy who's 6'4", 6'5", 220 pounds, can make the deep throws. He makes the deep throws with the best of them. His problem is turnovers. He cut down on the turnovers, but you want to see growth and you want to see progression. And I think with Daniel Jones, I think you're going to see that. I really do. And I really think you're going to see that with Evan Neal on the offensive line, as well as these new guards, Gano, and the other guy we signed, and Feliciano. I think you're going to see that, and I think you're going to see more of a growth from Daniel Jones from a run standpoint. But don't be surprised, Giant fans, if we do draft Evan Neal and Jermaine Johnson. It answers questions. Jermaine Johnson paired with Azeez Ojulari. Woo! That could be scary. That could be scary for a couple of years. And you never know. You might see the Giants trade up in the second round and take another offensive lineman. Maybe a Tyler Linderbaum. Maybe trade some of their late round picks, move up back into the late first round, early second round, and take a Tyler Linderbaum if he falls. Wouldn't that be something? A Tyler Linderbaum, Evan Neal, and Andrew Thomas? Wow. Now you're saying something. So, it's not all doom and gloom. The Giants have options. Or they can also trade back. With Arizona, Seattle, if they're looking for a quarterback. I don't see them trading with the Commanders because that's in the division. I don't see them trading with the Eagles, even though I would like it, but that's also in the division. Because the Eagles have 2 first-round picks as well. So you will look at the Eagles as draft capital, but I don't look at the Giants wanting to make the Eagles stronger just for draft capital. So I see the Falcons, and I see the the Seahawks, mainly the Seahawks at 9. Um, I think that's far. That's as far as the Giants are willing to go back. I don't think they're willing to go out of the top 10 because let's face it, the Giants have to hit on these picks. They have to hit on these picks. They have to hit on both of these picks. Both of these guys, whoever they take, have got to be immediate starters, and I would argue Pro Bowl type players. They have to be. They have to be. What would the line be if the Giants took a Evan Neal and maybe a Derek Stingley Jr.? Who I'm also highly on. But I don't think they're gonna take Stingley because of the Lisfranc injury, even though he had a hell of a freshman season. Hell of a freshman season. And it was in the SEC. This guy, he's not a Greedy Williams from Cleveland that also played at LSU, who was a high draft pick. He's a physical guy. He's 6'1", and he plays physical. He'll play to run. The thing is he committed to football? And that's the thing. His mother, father, they're from an athletic family. But him, is he dedicated to football? Same thing with Kayvon Thibodeau. He has all the traits, but is he dedicated to football or is he dedicated to Kayvon? I think with Jermaine Johnson, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about that at all. So, buckle up, Giant fans. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Like you, I'm going to be glued to the TV for the whole first round. I already got the popcorn ready. I got the Red Hots. I got the chips, the dip. I'm gonna be doing it up, and we're gonna be, all Giant stout, and ready to go. And but I really think that the Giants are moving in the right direction, and I think this draft is gonna be indicative of that. So brace yourself, because it's gonna be a couple of surprises. But Evan Neal, Jermaine Johnson, that's why I think we should go with our first 2 picks. If we do take a DB, that's because we're gonna gamble and we're gonna take an edge rusher with our second round pick. Now, they could gamble and take Derek Stingley or a Sauce Gardner if he falls, or a Kyle Hamilton, and then take an edge rusher in the second round. But I would like to see, me personally, if I was the GM, I would like to see us address the line. And you got to address the line on both sides. And I think it starts with Evan Neal, because I don't think Iggy Ekwonu is going to be there. And there's knocks on Iggy with his pass protection. But run blocking, he's a grader. He's a monster. But I think when it comes to being polished, I think you got to go with Evan Neal. Playing in the SEC, playing against experienced rushers, playing multiple positions. We also talk about Evan Neal at the tackle position, but this is a guy that also played center and guard. So he's played all along that offensive line. So he can address our questions, if we have in fact questions going down the line. So right tackle, you know, it may not just be Evan Neal penciled in right tackle. You know, it could be Evan Neal penciled in at guard. It could be Evan Neal penciled in at center. You know, I mean down the line. So you know, it's not etched in stone. But I think right now you have Evan Neal at right tackle, Andrew Thomas at left, you know, and you're starting to build that offensive line. You're starting to get some young cohesion on that offensive line. And teaming Jermaine Johnson with Azeez Ojulari, special. I think that could be special. You know, when the Giants were in their heyday, you got to remember they came up with the NASCAR defense. Steve Spagnuolo. They called it the NASCAR defense because those guys got after the quarterback. Justin Tuck, Osi Umenyiora. It was a young Jason Pierre-Paul. Michael Strahan was on his way out, but he was still productive. You know, and the Giants got to get back to that. They got to get back to smash mouth football, playing defense, good, solid defense, and they got to protect the quarterback. And I think if they do that, they can win some games. And the NFC East is a winnable division. You know, call me crazy, but it's a winnable division. I don't think this year, because I think the Giants are still putting the pieces together. But next season and the years after that, I think it's winnable. And I think they're moving in the right direction, but it starts now. And it starts tomorrow. And it starts with Evan Neal. Oh, excuse me. And it starts with Evan Neal and Jermaine Johnson. So, all of the NFL path to the drafts and mock drafts and draft 5.0s and this and that, you know, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. But that's what I'm looking for. Now, as for me, I'll be doing a post NFL draft, rounding out who the Giants selected, what I think of them. Do I think they have value? Do I think that they got the best bang for the buck, so to speak? So I'll be going over that later, after the draft. I'll also be addressing the New York Knicks, and the Jazz losing to the Dallas Mavericks and being down 3-2 is a great thing, baby. Donovan Mitchell, it's a great thing. You know, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but there's rumors that if the Jazz lose in the first round again, Donovan Mitchell is going to want out of Utah. And that's a beautiful thing for the Knicks. Don't give up the franchise. Don't do what you did with Carmelo Anthony. Donovan Mitchell is already stated in public circles that he would like to be in the Garden. He would like his skills to be flashed in the Garden. So you don't have to give up the franchise. You don't have to give up RJ Barrett, Obi Toppin, you know, Emmanuel Quickley. You don't have to give up your young players to get Donovan Mitchell. But it's there for the taking. So let's go Dallas Mavericks. Let's root for Dallas to close the series out and bring Donovan Mitchell on home. But for now, let's focus on the Giants. And let's focus on this draft, baby. And with that, I say peace. Love to everybody. And thank you very much.